The Big Story on 105.9 The Region.
It does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I
did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
We just saw another plane coming in from the side.
You did. That was out of...
Yes.
Tomorrow marks the 20th anniversary of a day that changed our lives around the world forever. It was 9/11. Someone who had a front row seat of everything happening that day, award-winning, long-running, amazing news anchor for City TV. He was in our homes. He was our soundtrack. He was our comfort person. He was our counselor that day. Gord Martineau joining me on the show this morning. Gord, thank you so much for doing this. Good morning.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I know myself, my wife and I were just talking about this last night when we knew you were coming on because she was pregnant with her first child. And everything was happening, and we were just we were beside ourselves. Like, what kind of world is our daughter coming into? And then you are a professional, a journalist, but you're also a human being. How do you balance everything going on, knowing what was happening in New York and at the Pentagon, Gord?
It's possibly the greatest challenge I've ever faced while being on the air, because you're a human being, as you said. So this is, hitting you right in the gut. And at the same time, you have to remain calm and convey the information in as formal a manner as possible without, inciting alarm. So you're conflicted, but at the same time, you rely on your professional capabilities. So for me, I was absolutely flummoxed, and because who could have believed that planes would be flying into the World Trade Center? I mean, it was beyond comprehension. So you have to kind of get a grip on and convey the facts. This is what's going on, folks. It's a terrible situation. It's awful. We've never seen anything like it. And for me, it's a story that is still going on. Look what happened in Kabul. You have America with all its might and power. Not that I'm being critical, but that's an accurate assessment of who they are. They're the greatest power on the face of the earth. And even they are having their butts kicked trying to get out of Afghanistan because they're in such a vulnerable position. When you set yourself up, as the power of the universe, somebody's going to take a shot at you. And, I recall a very well-known media executive saying to me in the newsroom at around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, when the thing had been going on since early in the morning, as we know, say to me, who do you think did this? And I said, first of all, the Taliban came out 5 minutes after it happened, issuing a news release saying, by the way, it wasn't us. Well, why would you do that if it wasn't you? And secondly, I said, it's got to be Osama bin Laden's got to be behind this. And the guy said to me, no, there's no way. I said, of course there is. The guy's wealthy, comes from a rich family. He's a known terrorist. He's been espousing the destruction of the United States, for years. And it's got to be him. He's the guy. No, it's not him. Well, turns out I was right.
I think about your long career, Gord, and you covered everything from natural disasters to elections to, wars, the Falklands War, you name it. But this was so different, and it was so weird to happen to us and Canadians and Americans on our own soil. Did that make it different for you as a news anchor, knowing that it was so close to home?
Oh, yes, it did. I mean, I recall speaking with my wife at the time and saying, she said, well, this is horrible. And she was totally rattled, as most people were. And I said, yeah, we've never seen anything like this. And then there were rumors, okay, maybe the BMO tower's next. And Toronto police were organized and, had to respond accordingly. But, initially, when I first heard what was going on, I was in the car running errands. And there was something about, initially it was a very kind of, gee, we don't know what this is. This is before we knew it was planes hitting the towers. There was some kind of an explosion in New York. And from my experience, I knew that there was a very strong Puerto Rican separatist element in the city that had, set off pipe bombs here and there. But pipe bombs, they're kind of like firecrackers compared to what happened. But, I thought maybe that was it. And then it slowly started to evolve. The layers of the onion started getting peeled back, and we saw what was really going on. And it was absolutely mind-blowing. And, but again, you have to retain your composure throughout the day, which is what I tried to do. But at the same time, I'm thinking, oh, my God, what's next? Where do we go from here? But it's a story of terrorism, and it gave a brand new perspective to international terrorism, which is still going on. You see the lengths to which the terrorists will go to establish, fear in the hearts of people, because that's the basic tenet of terrorism, to inspire terror.
Speaking of a longtime news anchor from City TV, Gord Martineau. And Gord, we were talking to our kids a little while ago about what it was like before 9/11. They've grown up in 9/11. They've only known travel with Uber security and all the measures in a world with all these terror stories. And prior to that, I mean, traveling and flying it was a joke compared to what it is now, Gord.
Yeah, and if you can compare it to what's going on today with pandemic, children have grown up with this, and many women I know have really questioned. You throw in climate change as well. Have really questioned whether they should be having children at all, what kind of future their children might have on this planet. And so you really have to feel for parents who have made the decision to have kids. They're pretty brave people, because, the world is an ugly place when you take a look at it, what's going on. Climate change, pandemic, terrorism, these things, when I was young, were never issues, ever. No one could ever envision that they would be an issue. But here we are dealing with this stuff. And so you've got to be really level-headed when you explain the situation to your children.
When you look back and we wrap up, Gordon, you think about that day and what you did as an anchor and a journalist and a broadcaster. Do you also think about the team around you at City TV that day that told that story? Because I know my wife and I, we were glued to what you were doing and your staff and your other reporters are doing on, like, the people in New York and in Toronto. It was such a team effort. And at the same time, everyone was feeling those same emotions you were.
You can't do anything without your team. You are just a singular individual, just a cog in the wheel. You have no more importance than the people in the control room or the people on the floor in the newsroom, doing what they do. Your boss, Tina Cortez, was the woman in my ear. When I say that, because I wear an earpiece and the control room can talk to me anytime they wish, she was the one who was also trying to be calm and cool and relaying information to me. So while I'm on the air, information is coming in. She would sift through that information and relay it to me. So it really takes a team to get the coverage done. And, everyone reacts accordingly. You react as a unit, you drop everything and get involved in the story and present it the best way you can. And that was the greatest challenge I've ever faced in doing a live broadcast. I mean, I've done every provincial, municipal, and federal elections since 1967. And, I'm used to being on the air where you have to be fluid and things change on a dime. But I've never faced a situation like that one. Never envisioned I ever would.
Well, tomorrow, 20 years, the anniversary of 9/11, a day that changed our lives forever as journalists, as newscasters, but it's just as human beings and citizens. Gord Martineau, thank you so much for the insight and all the best. And I'm sure some sad memories tomorrow as we commemorate the 20th anniversary.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much, and all the best to your listeners.
Thanks, Gord.